In the heart of the Jordanian desert, hidden deep within the Red Rock Mountains, lies a city forgotten for nearly 800 years, Petra. No cement, no steel, no machinery. Yet the ancients carved this marvel directly into the mountains with a precision that astonishes modern engineers. A colossal city, sculpted straight into the rock, with columns towering nearly 40 meters, intricate domed roofs, and hundreds of structures defying time itself. How did the ancients, in the harsh desert, create such a timeless wonder? And why did it vanish, swallowed by sand, stone, and the shadows of history? Welcome to Logic Relic. Today, we will unravel the mystery of the engineering feats that allowed Petra to defy time and the logic of the modern world. Chapter 1. The City Lost in Stone. Amid the arid mountains of southern Jordan, there is a narrow gorge called the Sick, a 1.2-kilometer-long passage flanked by sandstone cliffs rising up to 80 meters. If you had walked through here over 200 years ago, you would have seen only shadows and stone, with no hint of the colossal ancient city beyond. But at the end of the path, as the gorge opens, you are greeted by Al-Khazna, the treasury, a majestic structure carved directly into the cliff face, with towering Corinthian columns, an intricately designed pediment, and a beauty that feels almost otherworldly. Yet, for nearly 800 years, the outside world had no knowledge of Petra's existence. The local Bedouin people called it the Cursed City and guarded its secret, partly to protect it from looters and partly because they themselves did not fully understand its origins. Petra was once the thriving capital of the Nabataean Kingdom from the 4th century BCE, a commercial hub connecting Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. But after the kingdom's decline and devastating earthquakes destroyed its infrastructure, the city was abandoned, gradually buried by sand and time. It wasn't until 1812 that Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt rediscovered Petra. In his journal, he wrote, "A scene altogether unique. I saw with my own eyes a facade carved into the solid rock, grander than anything I had imagined." Excerpt from Travels in Syria and the Holy Land, 1822. Burckhardt disguised himself as an Arab pilgrim to avoid suspicion, becoming the first Westerner in centuries to witness Petra. Today, archaeologists confirm that Petra is not merely a city in stone, but a complex feat of engineering and artistry, built by a civilization with a deep understanding of geology, hydraulics, and architecture. Yet the question remains, how did the Nabataeans, with rudimentary tools, create such a city in the heart of the desert, within the mountains, that defies even modern construction logic? Chapter 2. Architecture Defying Time. Stepping through the Sick and beholding Petra's full grandeur, you realize this is not a city built from stone blocks, but one carved directly into the pink-red sandstone cliffs. Over 800 structures, including temples, tombs, theaters, and monasteries, were sculpted by the Nabataeans as monolithic creations, transforming cliff faces into majestic, enduring facades. The most iconic is Al-Khazna, the treasury, standing approximately 39 meters tall and nearly 25 meters wide, adorned with intricate Corinthian columns, a triangular pediment with sculpted reliefs, and details so perfectly symmetrical they seem surreal. What's astonishing is that this entire structure was not constructed from stacked bricks or stones, but carved from top to bottom directly into the cliff. This method required artisans to calculate with precision from the very first chisel strike, as a mere centimeter of error could ruin the facade's proportions, with no way to correct it, as in conventional construction. According to archaeological reports from the American Center of Oriental Research, this technique demonstrates the Nabataeans' superior grasp of geometry and measurement. They began at the cliff's summit, carving while erecting wooden scaffolding for access, leaving steps for approach until reaching the base. A geological study conducted by ACOR in collaboration with Yarmouk University, Jordan, revealed that Petra's sandstone has alternating soft and hard layers, requiring artisans to constantly adjust the force and direction of their chisels to prevent surface cracks. Examining the intricate details of Al-Khazna, from the faux freestanding columns to statues of goddesses and warriors, Researchers conclude that the structure demanded precise ratio measurements and highly refined surface finishing techniques. This raises a question. How? With the rudimentary iron and bronze tools of the 1st century BCE, could the Nabataeans achieve geometric perfection that even modern engineers struggle to replicate? Chapter 3. Extraordinary Construction Techniques. If Petra's beauty is breathtaking, the Nabataeans' construction techniques leave archaeologists and engineers in awe. Unlike ancient civilizations that quarried stone and transported it to build, most of Petra's architecture was crafted on-site, directly from the sandstone cliffs where the city stands. The process began with selecting the right location and stone type. The Nabataeans chose stable, crack-free cliffs with uniform color to avoid chipping or fracturing during carving. Loose stones or blocks needing separation were quarried manually with iron chisels and hammers. According to Zayedine and Schmid's research in the Petra Archaeological Project, large stones were transported using wooden sleds and cylindrical rollers, pulled by animals like camels or donkeys, along temporarily leveled ramps to reduce friction. To create a facade, artisans started at the cliff's top, carving while securing wooden scaffolding with pegs drilled directly into the rock. This top-down approach had two advantages. It prevented debris from damaging lower sections and allowed artisans to maintain overall proportions from the outset. Zayedine and Schmid noted that peg holes for scaffolding remain visible in many structures, providing direct evidence of this technique. Once the rough structure was formed, artisans refined the surface. Petra's sandstone is relatively soft when freshly exposed but hardens upon contact with air, so workers had to carve and smooth it during this pliable phase. Intricate details, from Corinthian patterns to goddess statues, were crafted with fine chisels, polished with fine sand and water for a glossy finish. Archaeological evidence suggests that completing a major structure like Al-Khazna could take years, even decades, requiring coordination among teams of quarrymen, transporters, scaffolders, rough carvers, and decorative artisans. This was a large-scale, tightly organized production line, proof that the Nabataeans were not only skilled merchants but masters of sophisticated, logical engineering that seems almost unbelievable for over 2,000 years ago. Chapter 4. Water Systems in the Desert. Petra lies in a parched desert where annual rainfall averages just 150 millimeters, with natural streams virtually non-existent. Yet, at its peak, the city sustained a stable water supply for tens of thousands of residents, public baths, fountains, and irrigation systems. The secret lies in a sophisticated network of above and below-ground hydraulic systems, so advanced that modern engineers consider it a masterpiece. According to UNESCO surveys and studies compiled in Ancient Water Technologies, the Nabataeans built a network of hand-carved channels along cliff faces, lined with stone or sealed with waterproof plaster. These channels carried rainwater and spring water from gorges several kilometers away, leveraging natural slopes for continuous flow without pumps. Upon reaching the city, water was distributed into a system of reservoirs and underground cisterns, some with capacities of thousands of cubic meters. To prevent evaporation and ensure hygiene in the hot, dry climate, many cisterns were covered or built deep underground. Ceramic pipes connected main reservoirs to residential areas and public structures, functioning as a low-pressure water supply network. Remarkably, the system was designed to separate water flows, clean water for drinking and bathing, and less pure water for irrigation or crafts. This structure minimized waste and ensured reserves during dry seasons. Hydraulic models estimate that, at its peak, Petra could store enough water to support 30,000 to 40,000 people for months without rain. UNESCO experts conclude that this was one of the most efficient water systems of the ancient world, rivaling Roman hydraulic engineering and a testament to the Nabataeans' mastery of resource management in a harsh environment. Chapter 5. A Transcontinental Trade Hub. Over 2,000 years ago, Petra was not just a city hidden in stone, but the largest commercial hub of the Arabian Peninsula, where all trade routes for incense, spices, and luxury goods converged. Located on the Incense Route, a transcontinental trade network linking Yemen, Oman, and Saudi Arabia with Egypt, Syria, and the Mediterranean ports, Petra thrived. Greek geographer Strabo, 1st century BCE, 1st century CE, wrote that the Nabataeans controlled nearly all commerce through the desert and amassed vast wealth by taxing goods passing through Petra, Geographica, 16.4.21. Camel caravans carrying frankincense, myrrh, spices, gold, pearls, and silk from the east stopped here to trade and rest before continuing to the Mediterranean. Archaeological evidence from the Petra Archaeological Park and the American Center of Oriental Research uncovered expansive warehouses, stone-paved markets, and multi-tiered residential areas where merchants, artisans, and citizens coexisted. Artifacts like amphorae, ceramic jars, wooden chests, and Nabataean coins, many bearing portraits of kings like Arid IV, reveal a sophisticated financial system with widespread currency circulation. Roman historian Pliny the Elder, in his Naturalis Historia, 1st century CE, described Petra as a wealthy center where goods from across the world converged and were distributed to the Roman world. By controlling water sources and safe desert routes, the Nabataeans held a strategic advantage as both protectors and orchestrators of trade flows. This commercial prosperity fueled Petra's grand structures, exquisite art, and vibrant civilization. But its heavy reliance on these trade routes would lead to a fateful turning point when Roman maritime routes began to replace desert pathways. Chapter 6: Decline and Oblivion. Petra was once a radiant jewel in the desert, but no civilization lasts forever. The first turning point came in 363 CE, when a powerful earthquake devastated the region. Seismological studies published in the Bulletin of the American Schools of Oriental Research indicate that the quake destroyed much of Petra's hydraulic infrastructure and key structures, including reservoirs and water channels critical to the city's survival. Cracks still visible on stone walls align with regional fault line patterns. But natural disaster was only part of the story. By this time, the desert trade routes, Petra's economic lifeline, were declining. After annexing the Nabataean Kingdom in 106 CE, the Roman Empire prioritized maritime routes through the Red Sea and Mediterranean, shortening transport times and reducing reliance on hubs like Petra. As caravan traffic dwindled, so did Petra's tax revenue. Compounding this, climate changes and damaged water systems made it increasingly difficult to sustain a large population. With scarce rainfall and many reservoirs left unrepaired after the earthquake, the city's water supply faltered. Archaeologists note that residential areas were abandoned by the 6th century, while major structures rapidly deteriorated. Ultimately, Petra was largely deserted. Only small Bedouin communities remained, while the city was buried in sand and erased from the world's knowledge for nearly 800 years. To the west, Petra was all but forgotten until Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, the Swiss explorer, rediscovered it in 1812. Opening a new chapter in unraveling the lost city. Chapter 7: Decoding the Legacy. Today, Petra is not only a renowned tourist destination but a living laboratory for archaeologists, engineers, and historians studying ancient construction techniques. From monolithic sandstone carvings and sophisticated desert water systems to large-scale labor organization and transcontinental trade, Petra reflects a Nabataean civilization with geological, hydraulic, and architectural knowledge far ahead of its time. In 1985, UNESCO designated Petra a World Heritage Site, recognizing its dual value as both a masterpiece of stone carving artistry and evidence of humanity's remarkable adaptability to harsh environments. Since then, preservation and restoration efforts have included reinforcing eroding facades, restoring ancient water channels, and mitigating the impact of growing tourist numbers. Collaborative projects between UNESCO, the World Monuments Fund, and the Jordanian government have used 3D laser scanning to preserve detailed records of each structure, safeguarding them against potential natural disasters or erosion. But Petra is more than a physical legacy. It answers a profound question. Can human ingenuity, without steel, cement, or modern machinery, create timeless works? The answer, etched in Petra's red-pink sandstone, is yes. And not only yes, it challenges the very limits of modern logic. In every chisel mark and water channel, Petra reminds us that technology is not just about machines, but, above all, about human intellect, creativity, and organization. That is why, after over 2 millennia, Petra stands firm in the desert, a timeless proclamation from the ancients to posterity. We were here, and we created something that even time must respect. Petra is not just an ancient wonder, but living proof that human ingenuity and engineering can transcend the limits of their era. From barren sandstone cliffs, the Nabataeans crafted a city that has endured for over 2 millennia, challenging the logic of modern construction. Relic is the passion project of our creative team, dedicated to bringing the wonders of science, history, and art to everyone. We sincerely thank all our viewers and supporters for watching this video. It's truly wonderful that the stories we tell can reach you. Though we may not know who you are, we deeply value every bit of support, from the smallest views to channel subscriptions. We are immensely grateful and humbly acknowledge your support. We love you, Relic loves you. If you found this story fascinating, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our next decoding journeys. Thank you for joining us. See you in the next exploration.